Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock. Happy Monday to you guys. I hope you guys had a great weekend. So today I wanted to chat with you all about generational curses slash generational norms, whatever it is that you guys may call them. Um, Someone I was speaking to this morning in the gym, we were having this conversation. And so I wanted to I think I may already have a video on generational curses somewhere in the mix. I'm not sure, but I wanted to elaborate on them again. So again, some people call them generational curses. Some call them norms because I guess curse is almost like a word that's looked upon as bad. And so the norm may not really be a bad thing. It's just something that you're accustomed to. So whatever it is that you call them, it all still aligns. So there's so many different examples of generational curses for men and women. Take, for example, you may have a generational norm or curse. Well, I'm going to call it curse. I'm not going to do both back and forth, but a generational curse where every single person in your family dropped out of middle school, even high school. Like every person that you can think of, your mother, your father, everyone down the line. There may be a generational curse that everyone in your family got pregnant at 13, during the teenager years. There may be, if you're a guy, there may be a generational curse that everyone in your family has had an outside child during their marriage, or every man in the family is abusive to their wives. So it's so many different things. It's just the point is everyone in your family that you can think of has done it, and even you maybe because you're accustomed to it. Well, here's the thing. If God has called you or chosen you to be the one to break that curse so it does not continue to go down the family line for the next generation and the next generation and the next generation who you will not live to see, get ready for the fight of your life. Listen, and you can't escape it. If God has chosen you, you can keep ignoring it, but he's going to keep bringing it back to you. Like you're not going to be able to rest in it, especially when you go more spiritually inclined. He's going to keep bringing it back to you because that's your calling. He could have chose anyone else in the family in the last generation, but he chose you. And you will know if you're the one that's called because, again, you're going to be the one who eventually knows that it has to be a different way. Where the others may kind of just go along with it, but it's going to keep coming back to you. Like, there's no way in the world I'm going to do this. There's no way in the world I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it different. Well, different is going to be very difficult because, again, you're not fighting for just the past generations. You're trying to break that chain from all those generations in the past, but you're also breaking the chain within your own generation, within yourself. And now you have to also fight to set the tone for the generation to come behind you. That's a lot of weight. That's heavy. But if you're called, you will have the grace to do so. So yes, it will be difficult, but you will have the grace to carry you along. Let me give you an example in my family. I can remember being a little girl, I mean, very young, 3, 4, 5 years old. And I will always hear my mother say to myself as well as to others, like, oh, my mother, meaning her mother, which is my grandmother, my mother would give you the hat off of her head if you stopped and say, oh, I love that hat. My mother would literally take the hat off of her head and give it away, right? But this was something that I always heard, that my previous ancestors and my, grannies and great grannies, like they always were givers. Like, trust me, I'm a giver and there's nothing better in the world. There's no better feeling in the world for me to help someone. However, there has to be a balance, meaning when you're giving, it's not hurting you. When you're giving, you're not sacrificing to the point that you're being harmed in it. So you have to learn to give from a healthy way. And sometimes that means saying no. And that's very hard when you're a giver. So I adopted this mentality because that's all I've ever heard. Even my mother is a giver. My mother will give you the shirt off of her back. She will give you everything that she has, right? So I grew up seeing that. I grew up hearing that. And then what happened? I adopted that same mentality because it's all I ever knew. So that's a generational norm / curse, whichever you want to call it. But if it's hurting you, it could be a curse. So I had a revelation, several years ago. I had a revelation, and that's how I knew I was the one called to break the curse, because you will have the revelation out of the blue. You're not even seeking for a revelation. God just revealed it to you. Like, hey, listen, yes, you came from a family of givers who would give their last, who would sacrifice their own health, sacrifice their own happiness to help others. And most times the people they help don't even appreciate it. So yes, you came from that. However, you're going to always be a giver because that's the kind of heart I've given you. But you have to learn to give from a healthy place. And I'm like, what is a healthy place? Sadly, I didn't even know what the healthy place was. Sadly, I didn't even know that you could give from a healthy place. I just felt like you just help everybody. And then once I had that revelation, it required me to go back and, dissect my life. And what I realized is that probably 80 to 90% of those people that I was helping truly did not want that help. Truly. Bless you. My dog is coughing. Did not want that help, did not even receive it properly, and most importantly, didn't even appreciate it. In fact, these are the same people that will turn around and slap you in the face to say, hey, I didn't ask you to help me anyway. That is some see red type thing when you done help somebody so much, and then during an argument, they turn around and say, well, I didn't even ask you for it. Like, that would make me see red. But when I sat down and contemplated, you know what? They're right. They're right. It was me who wanted to help because I saw better in them. I wanted better for them. But I've realized you cannot see more for somebody what they see in themselves. Okay. Now, you can be obligated to say when they get to that point and they come back to you and they're at a place where they're ready to receive, then you can help. But I had to learn to stop forcing things on people just because I see they could do more, because I wanted them to see them advance. And I thought like they were thinking too low of themselves, but that's not my problem. That's not my place. So I started to give, but the difficult thing for me was saying no. Now, let me be clear. I've never been a fool in giving, because you got some people who will just give. No, I've never been a fool in giving. I will help you, but I will watch you, right? And I may even test you. And so once you fail that test, once I realize like, okay, now you're trying to take advantage, I will cut you off, and then I will cut you off for life, literally for life. So in that process, I had to learn how to say no when it was healthy for me to say no. Or most importantly, God conditioned me to come to him first before I say yes, right? I couldn't give a rapid reply. I had to go to God first to say, okay, God, is this somebody you need me to help? Is this something you need me to do? And me just being just a doer, sometimes I find myself moving before I hear the answer from God. So now I've trained myself not to respond immediately. Instead, I wait. And if it's from God, it will always come back to you. It will always come back to you. So now I help when I can. Now I help when it's healthy for me. Now I help when I have the revelation from God. And guess what? It is still very difficult. Because there were times where God instructed me to say no, and then I deal with the regret like all day. It's in my mind. And it's like I want to reach back out to say, hey, okay, I'll help. And then God is like, if you do it, if you do it, you're going to have to deal with me. So what I love about my breaking generational curses is that God is conditioning me by convicting me, because if it was a person telling me not to do something that is a norm for all these generations, to be honest with you, I don't think I would be moved enough to say no. So it's almost like if God is convicting you and telling you that you have to do something, then that's solid. Like, I'm not even trying to play up with you. If God is telling me no, like, you don't even have the time of day. So in that process of being convicted spiritually, it started to become a norm for me, where I don't respond to every call right away, where I don't answer my phone when I'm in the middle of work or I'm really busy and I have people calling me, and I know most of these people are calling for something. Sometimes they're just words and all that stuff. And I feel like, okay, God, well, have you given me a gift to, feel through people's soul by being an empath? If you've using me for a vessel to give people the words that they need for that moment, then why can't I answer right now? And it's not that you can't be used as a vessel. It's just that right now it's not the time. So I'll let you know when to return the call, and that I will still flow through you for you to deliver those words at the right timing. You're busy right now, focusing on why you're busy and what you're doing. Complete what you're doing first. Take care of you. You're in the middle of something and you want to stop what you're doing to help someone else. No, take care of Kizzy. And once Kizzy's finished, I will come back to Kizzy and remind Kizzy to go and call this person back. So it's really a challenge. It really is a really, really hard challenge, but I'm determined because I know I am called. I don't have children, but I don't want my nieces and my nephews to feel, when they become adults, they have to just sacrifice all of their happiness to be givers or to be helpers. That's not healthy. So again, whatever your thing is, and you know what that thing is in your family, you know what that thing is. It could be an addiction. It could be a sexual addiction. It could be porn. It could be addiction to sweets. It can be just mental illness. It can be so many things down that line to currently where your family has been affected by it all of the time that you've known, including yourself. And in fact, you're fighting with that thing right now yourself. You're fighting with it. But in order for you to break that curse, you want to have to get with God one-on-one, with God, a relationship with God. I'm not talking about church. I'm not knocking church, but I'm just saying a relationship one-on-one with God, and God will show you, guide you, and lead you how to start that process. Again, it's probably going to be one of the most difficult things you've ever done in your life because it's all you ever know, and you're setting the foundation. So, but what a beautiful legacy to leave. What a beautiful legacy to leave, to know that you broke a generational curse that has been plaguing the family for 1,000 years. What a beautiful legacy to leave behind. So if you are the one who your father is like, Papa was a Rolling Stone, and every uncle and every the uncles that you look up to and the dad you look up to always had outside children, right? And in your heart it's not right, but because you looked up to them all of your life, you just saw it as, well, that's what a man does. That's all my family got outside children, so I guess I'll have the outside children. Well, I mean, now that it's not right. You know that now. You may have not known it as a child, but you now as an adult see how it ruins children's lives, family lives, all that stuff. How the outside child had to go, without a father being in the household, and probably dealing with abandonment issues because they're the one child who never fit in with the rest. So you've seen all these things happening. Even yourself right now, you may have an outside child, right? Well, start there. Don't use that as an excuse to say, well, I've already done it. I've made the outside child too, so I guess it's going to be the next person. My son's going to be the one to break the generational curse. No, you break it. You break it. You ask for forgiveness. You start over and you fight. You fight. Blood, sweat, and tears to be sure that your son doesn't do exactly what you, your dad, your granddad, your great-granddad did, and so on. Generational curses are real. They're hard to break. But if you're the one called to break it, gear up, armor up, because you're going to be in the fight for your life. But you are called because it stops with you. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.